Right now, we're speaking in early 2009. Your book came out, your book 2012 came out about 3 years ago. In that time, what has changed for you in your perception of 2012 and this material, and how does it sit with you right now? Right now, how do you view and understand 2012 and what it means?
Well, so what I've been kind of putting out about 2012 conceptually is not that like I know that this is going to happen or that is going to happen, but it's a window of opportunity to catalyze a shift in planetary culture and consciousness. Hopefully there's going to be a transformation of society. And it will probably be a very rocky period for a while. I mean, I don't think that the financial crisis is going away and there's going to be a return to normality. When you look at the species extinction crisis, they're talking about 25% of all species extinct in 30 years, or certainly all mammalian species, maybe all species in general. At the moment, the oceans are 90% fished out of large fish, and huge kind of ecosystems of aquatic life is disappearing. The polar ice caps are melting with increasing rapidity. So it seems like we've tipped over the global ecological system into one of like a rapid escalation of negative feedback loops that all kind of like intermesh. And so the question is whether we have the capacity and the skill set to deal with the amount of chaos that we're now unleashing on the planetary environment. And I think that we will get to that point, but it's going to become very evident quickly that a lot of the systems that people were counting on to support them and the structures they felt were like these permanent structures, are going to be sort of melting down to a certain extent. And hopefully new systems and structures will kind of come into being that will be like scaffolding for a new society.
Are you hopeful about the future of society and of the individual?
Yeah, I'm very hopeful about the future of society and the individual. I mean, I think that things get really, really good, really, really quickly. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we even really know how good things could get yet. Because we still, I mean, in my book I talked about like Herbert Marcuse and the sense of like, he looked at civilization as being this inheritance of kind of guilt and repression, from Freud and so on. And then you look at how we had that scarcity mentality and this kind of dominator empire mentality, and then we've kind of imposed those onto human society and onto like the planet in a way. And if that was to shift, and we were to go more into like the direction that Buckminster Fuller points towards, which really really looking at planetary ecology and humans relationship to it as a design science problem, where we try to really look at how natural systems work and mimic that and use that information. I think we could have a very rapid positive transformation. And so for the next book that I'm working on, I've been looking at a whole range of different types of solution-based approaches, whether it's complementary and alternative currencies, negative interest currencies, what this guy Bernard Lettier, I probably mangled his name, calls yin currencies, as opposed to yang currencies, which we only have one dominant yang currency that has a set of values kind of inscribed in it. So we could create a whole different ways of exchanging value that would be more supportive of collaboration and sustainable practices. There's a lot of techniques of bioremediation using natural systems, like using mushrooms and algae and so on, that could cycle out a lot of the toxins and the pollutants we've now put into the environment. There's breakthroughs in permaculture and organic agriculture, where you could, really maximize the use of space to get people's nutritive needs, addressed. I mean, but it's obviously, these are going to be large-scale undertakings. So I was just in Hawaii and happened to be there at the same time Obama was there for his vacation. And I found out while I was there that Hawaii, looking at these beautiful islands, and most of them are not even that populous, 95% of their food is imported, and the major export is garbage. So that's kind of like, and we're in New York, where the average morsel of food is traveling like 2,000 miles to our plate. So so we've had this massive fossil fuel dependency, which is like systemic. So it's really going to take some constellation of genius and will to come together to address these problems, but I think there are ways to address them.
Mm-hmm. This is your opportunity to either celebrate or pan your contemporaries. In the wake of your book, there's been this whole subgenre of 2012 literature in the form of books, but also there have been movies, there are television shows, there's a series of romance novels with a 2012 theme coming out from this very company. Obviously there are going to be more popular and more serious expressions of this idea, but on the whole, what do you think of the development of this whole 2012 subgenre that seems to be growing and growing?
That's a great question. Some of the material seems a bit lackluster to me, or kind of hastily thrown together, or not argued very carefully. I really tried to structure 2012 as a logical and rational argument, and I've even had lawyers who read the book who've been impressed enough to want to chat with me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if the process is about a evolution of intelligence, evolution of discernment, which would be an evolution of consciousness, then we really need to bring all of our critical faculties to the table to look at this type of material. But on the other hand, I see it as a good sign. It is coming up, and it's interesting that 2012 has become its own kind of cultural archetype.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a little bit like a battle for control of the meme. It's it can be spun towards doom and destruction, or it could be creation and new human culture. So why not take the most positive and visionary approach to this transformation process? So that's kind of where I've been thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. This is Mitch Horowitz. We've been talking with Daniel Pinchbeck, the author of 2012, The Return of Quetzalcoatl, and the co-editor of Toward 2012, a book of writings on this portentous date. Daniel, thank you.
Yeah, great to see you.